So we're going to ask Robin Daly to come up. Robin is the founder of Yes to Life, which is one of our UK partner organizations that we support and love. And they have some amazing educational symposiums online as well as in person. I wish I could come to your next one in London, but yeah, maybe. And my sister over here, Denise Stevenson, who is a Brit but living in France, but knows Robin, is going to come because I thought it was appropriate that we had somebody from across the pond to introduce him. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just going to tell you a little story. Each year, King Charles III collates a list of New Year's honours. It's a very prestigious list, and very few people get to be nominated on that list. And you are nominated for acts of service. And it's acts of service that affect a lot of people, usually over a long time, consistently. You probably all know where I'm going with this. And one of the awards that he gives out is the Member of the Order of the British Empire. And I'm just going to hand you over to one of the recipients of that award this year, Robin Daly, MBE, who is the founder and chairman of Yes to Life, the UK's only integrative cancer charity. It was the only charity in the UK when he set it up 20 years ago, and it's still the only integrative cancer charity in the UK today. So we're a little bit behind you guys, but where the US leads, we eventually follow. And Robin's going to tell you a little bit more about the charity that he runs, and I'm going to hand you over to him now. And here is Mr. Robin Daly, MBE.
Okay. Are we running on that mic? Great stuff. Okay, hello everybody. Hello. So yeah, those of you who've got good hearing will maybe spot I'm not from this part of the world. Yeah, as the introduction just said, I've come across from the UK to tell you a bit about Yes to Life, the not-for-profit that I set up in the UK. So I'll just tell you that I'm not any kind of qualified medic of any description, and that's a fact I jealously guard. The not-for-profit's called Yes to Life. We've been going for 20 years, so it's something like the Appleseed project. And I'm absolutely delighted, of course, to get an invite to come across here to tell you a little bit about it. Yeah, my presentation is called An Introduction to Yes to Life. So here we are, celebrating the fact we've been around 20 years in style at the House of Commons. And it's not always been like that. We've scraped the barrel quite a few times in the last 20 years. We're only just here by the skin of our teeth. But 20 years ago, I do remember Anne Fonfer and her work over here. Her website, the Annie Appleseed website, is one of the few very useful, good quality websites around at that time, and there were plenty. This young lady here is the inspiration for our charity. This is my daughter Bryony. She is my youngest daughter, and she had cancer 3 times in her short life, unfortunately. She was diagnosed when she was 9 with a rare muscle tumour in her calf, and she went on to have radiotherapy-induced bone cancer at age 13, and again at 22. And unfortunately they failed to treat that at 22, and she died at age 23. So when she was first diagnosed, when she was 9, there's no internet. We didn't even have a mobile phone then. So even though we're the kind of families to look outside the box and to find anything we could to help her, we didn't find so much, and actually there was a lot more out there than we ever found. I now know, but nonetheless we did what we could. But come the age of 22, the internet arrived, and as you probably all know, you put something to do with cancer into the internet and you're just buried in stuff. And so I set off duly at that point. I was researching 21.5 hours a day for weeks to try and find out what there was out there that was for real, that might actually be relevant, that I could afford, that there was somebody doing it somewhere I could get to. There were just so many questions. And of course, an awful lot of the information was just outright bogus anyway, so you had to sort out the real stuff. So it was a completely overwhelming situation, and we realized then, while Bryony was still alive, oh, come on, people need help with this. We've got to do something. People need a way of getting some decent information quickly. And what better way to do that than with a charity? That had to be the right way to do it, because the thing about a charity, it's got no commercial agenda, and it's only there to help people directly, to support them. So the charity was set up as soon as Bryony had died, basically. Now, when I set out, I had sort of two objectives in my sights. One of them was this terrible lack of information, a lack of choice. You know, by that time I knew there was an awful lot of stuff out there that was really good, that could really help. Nobody was being told about it. In fact, they were being warned of it, even worse. So that's something I wanted to do something about. But I had another objective as well, which was the culture of oncology. What did I think about the culture of oncology? Absolutely terrible. Abysmal culture, abusive, horrible culture. And it's not just bad for the patients, bad for the people in it too. Anyway, there was little old me 20 years ago thinking about these two massive things that I wanted to do something about, and I thought, well, I can't do both of these, I'm going to have to choose. So I made my choice, and I chose to go for supporting patients, getting them some choice, getting them good information. And over the next 20 years, what do we do? Well, anybody who set up a not-for-profit will tell you, you set out to change the world, and then you spend your time fundraising. You need to get the money to do something, and it's flipping hard. So, you know, we had 20 years. During that time, we've given a lot of direct support to people with cancer. We've done a lot of daft things. I've biked to Istanbul, all sorts of stuff we've done. We wrote a book, and we helped launch a new theory of cancer. We launched a radio show, which has now got to its episode 500 this week, I think. All the past radio shows are available to be listened to still. We launched 2 podcasts, one of them with a senior NHS oncologist. I co-hosted it with her. The other one we've just started out recently, which is an occasional one with Michael Lerner, who's one of my heroes from the Commonweal in California. We've done a ton of conferences like this. We love doing conferences. We love sharing good information with people, educating people. So we did conferences both in person and online. And here we are, 20 years later, by the skin of our teeth. So look at these guys here. I got this nice picture here as a demonstration of maybe how Yes to Life was seen 20 years ago. Bunch of crystal gazing hippies, basically, doing all that fluffy stuff. Yeah, woo-woo. So it's been painfully slow to change attitudes since then, but the last 5 years, I've got to say, I'm very pleased to say that things are moving relatively quickly. I mean, compared to the previous 15, very quickly. One of the things, a sort of key factor in the changes that have happened are to do with the language. We've heard a lot about language today and how important it is. And this word integration is very important. Why? Well, it's kind of got over the polarizing alternative conventional wars and started to build some middle ground. And the very title of an integrative doctor, if they're doing their job correctly, they should be asking the same questions as their patient. So the patient, if they've got any sense, is just standing there looking at things and not asking, well, is it conventional, is it alternative, or anything else. They should be asking, might it help me? So an integrative doctor should be asking exactly the same question. They should be standing beside their patient, looking at things from the same point of view. So it's a great new word. We love it. I think it's really helped. Now you may be wondering why I've got the picture of this critter in the background here. We've just been hearing about him. That's our friend COVID-19. Funnily enough, COVID-19's been a game changer for our charity. Why? Because it's changed attitudes to things like well-being. So, previous to that, well-being was something a few hippies in California did. But suddenly people realized that, effectively there were two groups of people during COVID. There was the people whose well-being was good, and they had a rather nasty flu, but so what? People whose well-being wasn't so good, well, they were in danger of dying. That's how important background well-being was. And so well-being became a thing, and it was talked about in the media, very sensible well-being all of a sudden. And to support that, we have lifestyle medicine. Well, lifestyle medicine is what you do to support your well-being. And in one scoop, we were able to sweep up an awful lot of things that previously had been labelled alternative, nutrition, wild, wacky stuff. Suddenly, it's sensible. This is lifestyle medicine. We need to look after this stuff. So we found as an organisation in a very short time, we were starting to be talked to and about in a completely different way. We went from being wacky outsiders to doing some sensible, solid stuff that people really need. So we rather liked that. It was actually pretty good. But so something good came out of that horrible episode of COVID anyway. So this lady here, very tough surname to say, took me a week, Dr. Penny Kekioglu. She is a senior NHS oncologist. During COVID, we as Yes to Life, like a lot of other organisations, jumped to and thought, what on earth are we going to do now? There are all these people sitting at home feeling horribly isolated and unsupported. And one of the things we decided to do was to go through a very steep learning curve and put on some mega online events. Some of you might have attended. It was called Your Life and Cancer. And 2 years running, we did events which were 2 weekends long. And because all the best speakers in the world were sitting in their back bedroom drumming their fingers wondering what to do, we were able to get them on these events for nothing. It was great. And so we actually had amazing speakers from around the planet. Of course, we had audience from around the planet as well. And they were massive events. So we had 1,200 people attending. So the second one of those, the second year, this lady attended, loved it all, and we were in touch afterwards. And she's gone on to become my co-host, as I said, in the Cancer Talk podcast, which is directed more towards healthcare workers than the public. My radio show is much more directed towards the public, but she's my co-host on that, and she's also our lead advisor on integrative oncology. So all of that is like beyond my wildest dreams from 20 years ago. It's like I could never have believed that it was possible that an oncologist would actually see completely eye to eye with me about what people with cancer need. So that's an awesome thing. There's only one of her, unfortunately, but she is beginning to create an atmosphere in which a whole generation of oncologists has got permission to look outside the box a bit. She's doing that. And she's gone back into the NHS to revolutionise it. And she's got a very senior position, so she's a brave lady. Anyway, around 20 years on, here we are, and I came to the realisation that my choice I made 20 years ago was flawed. So I chose between, direct support for people with cancer and the culture of oncology. Well, I now realise that the changes I want to see in cancer care, well, they're built out of our healthcare system. The healthcare system is system-centred, integrative medicine is patient-centred, And so there's actually no place for it at all in our culture of oncology as it stands. It's never going to work. So I sort of rolled up my sleeves and thought, okay, got to address the culture of oncology. This is our charter for oncology that we've developed. It has the strapline at the top there, love as the guiding principle for cancer care. Not very medic speak, you'll appreciate, but as I was saying, it's a time of language change. When we were just a little outfit who's trying to gain the attention of the incumbent conventional medicine, we used all their language, of course, to try and gain a bit of respect for what we were doing and everything. But we feel that time's past now, and we need to stop speaking in this rather abstract medical language and use the language of people, of human beings. And if I wanted to sum up in the simplest possible way what's wrong with the culture of oncology, it would be to say that there is an almost complete lack of love. So that's something anybody can understand, whether they're a healthcare worker or a patient or somebody on the street who's never been near oncology, but that is the situation as I see it. So we started to just call a spade, as they say in England. So we developed this charter. It's got 6 points to it. Yeah, I think you can see what they all are there. And at the end of my presentation, with any luck, there'll be a QR code there, which will take you to the charter itself. Now, I'd be very pleased if you read it, and even more pleased is if you like what you see there, you click the link that goes to the petition that goes with it. It says, yeah, we like this charter. It's saying the things we want to say about healthcare, and having signed it, you can even leave a comment there to say why you support it. So that would be great if you would do that. I was going to say I knew government, Labour government, but they're not that new anymore. But anyway, as they came in, they pronounced that our NHS was broken. That's their word. But they did hope it was not so broken it couldn't be fixed. So they put out an initiative which they called Change NHS in the autumn, and they invited the British public, anybody who liked, and interested organisations, which includes Yes to Life, to tell them what they think's wrong with the NHS, what to do about it. So, of course, we couldn't resist. We had to do our bit, and we sent it in, and I've no idea whether this is just a government PR exercise or whether they'll actually just bin the whole lot, but hopefully they might read it. But one of the reasons for optimism is that, again, language-wise, there's two good pieces of language being used by the government, as you see there, prevention and health promotion. Now, we know some stuff about that in this room, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, well, the NHS hasn't got a clue, okay? No idea how to do either of those things. You know, as was pointed out earlier, prevention, if you start talking about that, they think of mammograms. I'm like, you know, that's not prevention. You know, and as for health promotion, I'm sure they're working on some good drugs. They just haven't got a clue, really. And so if they want a fix that does these things, which actually makes the health of the nation better, brings down the number of people depending on the NHS for huge amounts of money to support their very poor health, well, they're going to have to look outside their normal frame of reference, and that's a good thing, has to be a good thing. So I want to spend the rest of the talk talking about something else, which is quite a big change, I think, in the last few years. I want to talk about the rise of group medicine, as James Maskell calls it. If you don't know James Maskell, look him up. Good guy, doing some good work. And James will tell you, and this is from, he's got the evidence to back it up, that groups are actually more effective at improving health and well-being than having your own functional medicine practitioner. What about that? I mean, that's a bit stunning, isn't it? To actually, even if they were as good, it would be pretty stunning. But he says they're better. Okay, and this is a group not including anybody with healthcare skills. He's not saying you don't need people with healthcare skills, but he's talking about the power of a group to improve people's health and well-being. So it's quite a stunning thing, and we are embracing groups big time at Yes to Life. And so I want to do a little bit of a sales pitch here for groups, because I think they're great. So that bit along the top there may be what some people think of when they hear the word cancer support group. They might think of a club that you don't want to be part of. And that's fair enough. They can sound like not your cup of tea, but I think it's worth re-evaluating. There's a lot of big names who are actually very supportive of groups, people like Dr. Lorenzo Cohen, Dr. Naisha Winters, James Maskell, as I said, Gabor Mate. All these people extol the virtues of groups. So we have groups, as I say, our program's called Wigwam. We've had it going for 7 years. And to start with, it was just a few local groups spread around the UK we were trying it out with. And they were going great. And then along comes COVID, and we think, oh, God, what are we going to do? Everybody's stuck at home in their flat, feeling isolated. And so, of course, same solution as with the conferences. We went online, and we started creating online groups. And these are very successful, and we've now got both kinds. We have online groups, we have in-person groups. They've got different virtues. You know, they're both good, but they're different. So, what are the ingredients of a great group? Well, there are two things, it seems to me, that a great group needs to have. It needs to have thoughtful guidelines, so the container that you build for the group to operate in needs to be well thought out, and everybody who's taking part in the group needs to be aware of it, how it works, and how they're going to fit into it. So you've got to do that bit well. But the other part is you have to have shared intentions for the group. You know, if you had a group which was just for lots of people who are dying of cancer to get together and you know, comfort each other, that's one thing. And there is a danger with that. You could all just sink down the plug hole together. We don't do groups like that, by the way. We do aspirational groups. So these are groups of people who want to learn, people who want to share ways to live better, ways to improve their longevity, all that kind of thing. And the funny thing about groups is, this is our own finding, is that we've got lots of different kinds of groups. Yeah, we've got book club, right? I'm not talking Jane Austen, all right? Book club means Naisha Winters or something like that, yeah? Looking at books about integrative medicine. That's a kind of easy entry. Lots of people could come in there and thought, yeah, that'd be good to talk about, you know. So they might join that group more readily than another kind. At the other end of the spectrum, we have a group called Finding a Deeper Connection. That's asking the biggest questions about life, the universe, and everything. Okay? So these are very different, but funnily enough, I think whatever kind of group it is, they still deliver the same things. They still deliver a transformative potential. We found this out, is that in a way you could say that you know, any pretext to get somebody in the door is fine, because they're going to get the same benefits from it. So there are, you know, there's the things that everybody with cancer has to deal with, you know, isolation, stress, outright distress, you know, all these things. And a group has the power to deliver things to do with human connection, to do opportunities for authenticity, to really be themselves. It has the opportunity for emotional expression. You know, all these things will have a marked effect on somebody's quality of life. And I said at the beginning that this is kind of like science, the fact that joining groups is good for you. Well, that's actually got biochemistry as well, to show the way that it affects immune function and several other markers which have actually been tracked. So groups, they're all about finding your people. I mean, I'm aware of some of the group initiatives that are happening here in the US. I'm not aware of how widespread they are. I'm just interested, anybody here a member of a group? Yeah, a few. Yeah, some. And are those who are a member of a group, how many of you really value it as a key part of your well-being? Some of those, yes. Right. Well, take note. This is what it's all about. This is what we find, is that people value these groups extremely highly and they become very committed to them. These here, these are your people. Appleseed Project's done an amazing job over the last 20 years, consistently bringing together the same people. Here they are. These are your people. So, you shouldn't really miss the opportunity of going away from here with some great connections to other people. You'd be really missing a trick. You're going to get a mountain of stuff about how to improve your health and well-being, for sure. All sorts of treasures there. But actually processing, exploring, and managing all that, that's ideally a sharing matter. It's a tough journey to do that on your own. So, Yes to Life, it's UK-centric for sure, but we've got lots on offer for our American friends. Okay? So, simply you can just sign up for our newsletter there, and you'll get all sorts of great stuff fed to your inbox for nothing. And on our website, we've got some great things that are available to everybody. We've got this directory, it's a searchable directory of therapies and providers, and it is UK-centric. We've got more in the UK than elsewhere, but we have a load. We've got the US quite well covered. So if you're looking for practitioners, well, try our directory. You might just find a lot in there. As I said, we got the Yes to Life show, which is the radio show I do, 500 editions of it. Well, if you go on our website and you look on the show page, that's searchable, okay? So you can go in there, you can say, I want to listen to an interview with Naisha Winters, and it'll be in there. And you can also search by topic and by keyword. So you can find, things about photodynamic therapy. I've talked to so many people about so much stuff over the years. So hearing from them firsthand like that is fantastic. As I mentioned, we've got the 2 podcasts, the Cancer Talk podcast. So it's a little bit more for health professionals, but it's all sorts of interesting people from around the world we're talking to. The Michael Lerner podcast, I think he's brilliant. He's such an inspiring man. I love working with him. So, have a listen. You might love it. And online events. So, our online events, you're all welcome, all right? They're heavily subsidized, all our events are. They're cheap as chips, all right? There's no reason not to come. And we've got one coming up on the 29th of March. It's called What's Really Working? International Evidence of Integrative Strategies that are Transforming Health and Well-Being. So I've developed a program with Mark Taylor of Patient-Led Oncology. Do you know Mark Taylor of Patient-Led Oncology? If you don't, you should. What he's doing is amazing. It's groundbreaking. He's doing patient-led research. And he's finding out what's really working around the planet. Doing a brilliant job. Anyway, he and I have built the program together, and got some fascinating speakers from the Americas, from Europe, and it costs 15 quid. That's less than $20, guys. Come on. All right, so sign up. Just go to the website, click on events, and you'll find it. There is the QR code I promised you for our charter. Do please read that. Do please sign the petition to say you like it. And, of course, you can find us on all the usual places on social media. So that's it. A big thank you to you for listening, and it's a pleasure to be here to tell you about what we do in the UK.
Thank you, Robin. Are you up for answering any questions from the audience? So, with regards to the petition, what is your deadline for signatures? How long do we have to actually sign it?
There's no deadline, actually. We're just building support for it, so as and when. Actually, I should have said, not only sign it, but of course, tell all your friends to sign it as well. That's very important. But we just need a big groundswell of support for exposing fact. I mean, you haven't been into oncology. You've got no idea what's happening behind those doors. You just don't know. People at their most vulnerable suddenly find themselves dealing with abuse, basically, because they're interested in saving their own life. Hello? It's just absolutely awful, and it hasn't really changed in 20 years that I've been doing Yes to Life. It's much the same now. This is the UK. You think things are bad here, they're much better than the UK, okay? But we don't have anything that looks like integrative medicine in the UK, full stop. And a nutritionist would never get across the threshold of an NHS hospital without getting gunned down, okay? They don't do those, they're quackery. So anyway, it needs to change, and some of the same features are at play not just in the UK. Some of the features of oncology that I'm talking about, they're just the same the world over, because the same conditions of abuse are being created by the profit motive everywhere around the planet. So let's tackle it.
Yeah, thank you. No, I didn't realize it was as bad as it was. Denise has told me it's pretty bad in France. And do you want to talk a little bit to Robin about what you and I have been discussing about the state of things in Europe? And maybe he might have some insight for us.
Yeah, I was actually treated in France for stage 3 breast cancer. So if anyone's still around on Saturday afternoon, I'm doing a round table. And I'm going to speak about the only thing that I'm really qualified to speak about, which is my treatment and how I experienced going through a cancer treatment diagnosis through to prognosis in France in 2017. And sadly, nothing's changed there in the almost next 10 years either. But I've got current experience with a family member who's going through stage 4 cancer right now. And it just makes you so sad. Just makes you so sad. So we're all in this together. Appleseed Project have appointed global partners this year, which is fantastic. We're all on the same page. Robin, it's great to have you here today. I've got some questions this side. Can we begin? Yeah? Okay.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
Hi, Caroline, yeah.
I was diagnosed with de novo metastatic breast cancer about 1.5 years ago. And I remember in my blackout that lasted a few months, somehow finding your website and downloading the questions to ask your oncologist PDF and shakily bringing that. So thank you. And since then, I've attended so many of their events online, and I'm signed up for the March 29th one already. So I just want to reinforce how helpful your organization has been. I don't know why in Philadelphia, the search engine brought me to you, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. So great to hear.
That's sweet. That's great to know.
I just want to say that list of questions is now part of a new booklet. You can download it off the website. It's called Finding Your Way, and it's a totally great sort of starter pack for people who are right at the beginning of their journey. So if you want to share that with anybody, it'll be stuff you all know, but for anybody who's new to it, it's perfect for them. It's not too in your face. It's even the sort of thing that your oncologist might not go pay at that. So, but it's really good, solid information.
It is, and it's not that long. It's about 34 pages, I think.
Something like that,
36 pages.
Yeah.
And it just gives you a good starting place. I wish it had existed when I needed it a few years ago. Do we have any more questions for Robin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you come up to the microphone, please?
It's really loud.
No. Come on up to the microphone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finding your way. Finding your way.
Robin, my name is Rosemary, and
hello, Rosemary. Yeah.
I just want to. Nonprofit work is so hard, and I just want to give you a big shout out for taking the experience of Brianna's death and creating something, recognizing a need, and doing the hard work of creating something for the people who come along after Brianna and those others who needed the same thing and maybe didn't know it and don't have the energy to do the work that you're doing. So hats off to you, and thank you for being here and traveling this way. We really appreciate it.
Nice. Thank you very much. Just to say, I totally love what I'm doing. It's my obsession. It saved my life. It totally transformed my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's not a chore for me. It's just, I do this, and it's great.
Well, we love that, and that's wonderful. And you need to know now that you have another family over here in the U.S.
Yes, I like
so
that.
we are it, and we're connected now for life.
Yeah.
And so yes to life and yes to our partnership across the pond. So thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Julia.
being here. We love you.
Yeah.